Good day, everyone. Today, I'm going to discuss present value. And when we say present value, this refers to the value of the amount at an earlier date before at a given rate, which will accumulate to a specified amount S at some later date. And we are going to use this formula and solving for the present value, which equals S times quantity 1 plus I quantity to the negative N, where S is the accumulated value, also known as the future value, and I is the annual interest rate divided by the rate per period. And N equals the total number of conversion periods. So N equals the product of T and the compounding period. In other books, you will also encounter this formula, PV equals FV all over quantity 1 plus I to the N. So exactly the same formula as presented here. So whichever formula you use, you'll come up with the same correct answer. Now, present value provides a basis for assessing the fairness of any future financial benefits or liabilities. For example, a future cash rebate discounted to present value may or may not be worth having a potentially higher purchase price. The same financial circle calculation applies to 0% financing when, for example, buying a car. Paying some interest on a lower sticker price may work out better for the buyer than paying zero interest on a higher sticker price. Paying mortgage points now in exchange for lower mortgage payments later makes sense only if the present value of the mortgage savings is greater than the mortgage points paid today. Now, how do we calculate the present value as what I have presented on the screen, the formula? Present value, of course, is calculated by taking the future cash flows expected from an investment and discounting them back to the present day. So to do that, the investor needs three key data points: the expected cash flows, that's also known as ERS, the accumulated value or the future value, the number of years in which the cash flows will be paid, and of course, their discount rate. The discount rate is a very important factor in influencing the present value, with higher discount rates leading to a lower present value and vice versa. Using these variables, investors can calculate the present value using the formula. Now, why is present value important? Because it allows investors to judge whether or not the price they pay for an investment is appropriate. Now, present value is a way of representing the current value of the future cash flows based on the principle that money in the present is worth more than money in the future, of course. Present value is used to value the income from loans, mortgages, and other assets that may take many years to realize their full value. Now, investors use these calculations to compare the value of assets with very different time horizons. Now, the process of finding the present value is called discounting, and the difference between S and P is called as the discount. Now, in the next slide, I'm going to provide example problems on present value, and we will solve each problem using the formula that I have presented. Number one, find the present value of 15,000 due in 3 years at 7% with M equals 2. So here, this is the future value S, or the accumulated value, and this is your time. This is the annual interest rate. Of course, this has to be divided by 2, converting the period, number of period in a year. So substituting the given to solve for P, and P equals again S times quantity 1 plus I to the negative N. Okay, so N is obtained here by working on the product between years and compounding period. So this gives us 6. So P here equals the product of 15,000 and 1 plus 0.07 all over 2 raised to the negative 6. And using your calculator, then round off your answer to the nearest hundreds. This gives you 12,202.51. Now, you might be wondering why we have a different answer here based from the module. The problem here was based from your module, and there was a typo error in your module. Instead of writing 3, 4 was written. So when the value was substituted to the formula, it came up, of course, with a different answer, but this one is the correct one. Next, we have 17,200 is due in 4 years and 6 months at 12% compounded semi-annually. So we're going to determine the present value again. So this is the accumulated value S. This is the time, 4 years and 6 months. And then this is your annual interest rate. And then, of course, we have to divide that by the compounding period, which is 2. And your N equals the product of time, which is 4.5. That's 4 and 6 months times 2. So N is 9 here. So we have P equals 17,200 times quantity 1 plus 0.12 all over 2 to the negative 9. So putting all your answers in the calculator, round off to the nearest hundred. So we'll come up with 10,180.65. Okay. Next we have, what is 5,700 next year worth now at an interest rate of 15,000, rather 15% compounded quarterly? So your S here equals 5,700, while T equals 1, and then N equals the product of 1 and 4. So N equals 4 here, and then you have to divide the rate by 4. And P equals 5,700 times 1 plus 0.15 all over 4 raised to the negative 4. So using your calculator and then round off your answer to the nearest hundreds, you'll come up with 4,919.52. And lastly, we have, what's the present value of 100,000 pesos after 3 years with interest of 5% compounded monthly? So your S equals 100,000 pesos. And then T, of course, equals 3 years. And then interest rate divided by 12. And then your N equals 3 times 12. This gives you 36. So P equals 100,000 times 1 plus 0.05 all over 12 to the negative 36. So this gives us present value equals 86,097.62. Always remember that S is always greater than P because S is a future value and P is the present value, the current value of the money. Now, I want you to work on this exercise and provide your answer in the comment box section of this lecture video. So I hope you are able to understand how to calculate for the present value as well as the application of it. So next meeting, we will be working on compound interest, and we will be dealing with time, time of a fraction. Okay, so that's for it. That's for now. So see you